Jola, nice to see you. Struggling with a cold, bear with me as I try to work through these. I'm trying to give everybody the same benefit here, which is that I'm recording a video precisely because I get one shot to look at everything that you've submitted here, your resume, cover letter, or a portfolio, as it's presented. I've skimmed over everybody's, but I haven't actually looked at any of them closely yet. And so this can be useful as an initiative to see how people perceive something in real time. It's not to say that it's how everybody would, but it's just how I am. And so I'm going to start with the resume portion. Actually, you know what? I'm going to not do that. I'm going to start with the cover letter. And I'm going to guess that this was for a specific job. I was so excited to see your post on LinkedIn because it's exactly the type of internship. When did you submit this? This was the 23rd, which was whatever that was. That was Sunday. Okay, I don't know that I noticed this when I was going through copying out some of the initial cover letters, probably because I think that when I saw it, I think I saw your later submission, not your first submission. And then it wasn't until just now that I realized this. But you did the same thing that everyone else did. So I talked about this in the announcement that went out. I copied in a bunch of the cover letters, at least the opening paragraph or a few lines of everyone's. And it starts off all the same. They were all the same. I'm excited about this opportunity. I'm excited to see this. I'm excited to apply for this. I guess it's not a bad way to do it, but man, it sure seems weird, right? That if you are competing against all of your other classmates, that you all have kind of the same start to your cover letter. It's exactly the type of internship I'm looking for. An opportunity to bring my experience with graphic design and enthusiasm for storytelling to an organization that sets the standard for high quality, engaging learning. I am a senior at IU, majoring in media arts, specializing in digital storytelling. I have a strong passion for visual design, and I'm eager for the opportunity to develop my design skills, contributing to the Children's Museum. Oh, that's fun. I don't know if you've heard back from them yet or not. I don't know when you applied for this. Looks like it was pretty recent, since February 17th, so I hope this works out. I would welcome the chance to make a meaningful impact in the lives of children. As an Ivy Tech and IUI student, I learned the importance of and significance of digital storytelling. Okay, I'm going to tell you the same thing that I've been telling other people, in addition to the announcement stuff that you should absolutely read. It is not unusual when applying for internships that the people who are soliciting internship cover letters and resumes kind of know what they're getting. There's a certain style to them, right? That there's an expectation. I have been telling people that I like to engage with the world as it really is, not as I wish it was. And the reality is, and you would agree with this if you were on the other side of this, that I, not as your teacher here, but as just sort of a vague generic employer, if I was trying to hire somebody, I really just don't care that much about your passions and your interests and your desires and all this, that, and the other thing. What I want to know is, how are you going to help me make money? And that's a harsh way to think about it, but that is exactly how most business people have to think about it, because you are in an economic conversation here. This is an economic transaction. You are transacting your time for money, and an employer is looking to extract some profit out of your time in exchange for money for you, so that I can turn around to my customers or my clients and then make that into more money. And I would think that it would really stand out to most employers, to most human beings, really, if the first opening paragraph of your cover letter was a you-centric focus. Don't focus on you, Jola. Focus on me, generic employer person. And so I don't care that you're excited to see the posts that I've made about an internship. I don't care that it's an opportunity that you are looking for. I don't even care that your enthusiasm for this, that, and the other thing. I personally care about you as a person, and I care about you as an instructor, as an employer. It's just one of like a sea of anonymous people that mean nothing to me, really. It's just like, here's person A, person B, person C, and so forth down the line. And again, it's not unreasonable that in an internship situation like what the Children's Museum is doing, they're probably used to it because they probably do a lot of this repeatedly throughout the year. In any other professional context, I just don't care. And what would be great is, how can you make that opening paragraph about me? This is a marketing thing. That's why I call this marketing yourself, because this is marketing 101. You never talk about the value of you. You talk about the value to the person that you're trying to sell to. It's not, I'm selling a car. This car was my favorite car. I love this car. You don't care if I'm selling you a car and I love this car. What you want is to hear something like, yeah, this car's really reliable. It's never going to let you down. The battery's brand new. The tires are new. And it's going to get you from point A to point B for the next 5 years with no problem. That's how you sell that car to somebody. And it's the same way here. Not to equate you with a car in this particular equation, but it's something to the extent of saying, you know, the Children's Museum stands the nation's premier children's museum, maybe the world's. In fact, that's really true. Selection of people that you have to choose from for an internship is immense. And I think that my experience and my graphic design and storytelling education is uniquely situated to provide the Children's Museum with the right kinds of skills that cultivates their learning curiosity and creativity, right? Or something to that effect. That's a little clunky, and I'm just doing this off the top of my head. You've got the bones of it in there. Just every time you see I would, flip it around. It's like the Children's Museum should welcome this chance, right? The Children's Museum will benefit from the years of experience that I have with graphic design and enthusiasm that you're going to be able to see in my portfolio. Just imagine what the Children's Museum can do with someone like me helping them, right? Something in that vein that will A, stand out a lot compared to your classmates, and B, it's just the good marketing of it. Do I think that you need to eliminate the I sentences in all of this? No, of course not. It's a resume, it's a cover letter. You're going to have to say that to some extent. I also think that you should be careful whenever you say things like I would, I think, I believe, I'm aiming to, I'm looking to. Like, these are some of those that I've seen from other students. Have some force. Be strong about this. It's like if you're talking with a professional, imagine that you needed to hire anything from a plumber to a doctor. You would not feel very confident if that doctor or that plumber said, well, I think, maybe, I don't know. It's like, no. You really want to hear some really strong suggestions from those kinds of professionals. Same thing goes here. I want to hear you say, I welcome the chance to make the impact in the lives of children and families that attend the museum. Not, I would welcome. No, I welcome it. I am ready to do it. It's just more forceful. It's a subtle change, but people notice it. As an Ivy Tech and IUI student, I learned the importance and significance of digital storytelling and how crucial it is to understand who you're designing for. I've also developed a keen eye for design aesthetics and layout. I exhibit the knowledge through my coursework. This is a lot, again, of I. It's not a bad thing in this context here as we get through this. It is just a repetitive bit. I learned, I exhibit, I designed, I did this, I so forth. It would be pretty neat, actually, if you could think of a way that your personal experiences could relate to the Children's Museum in a way that is unlike or very nearly unlike anyone else. There are a bunch of you who are students, both at Ivy Tech and then later IUI. There are a lot of you who are IUI students. Do you think that there are no other students who learn the importance and significance of digital storytelling? That no one else has a good eye for design and layout? Like, this describes basically everybody in the room, right? And so my wholehearted suggestion here is to sort of pretend that you're Gordon Ramsay, for lack of a better way. Pretend that you're Gordon Ramsay and that you are just really confident. You know what you're doing. You're really good. And I would argue that you are. You're one of the top students in this course, at least from what I can see. And so, yeah, I want some oomph behind it. Who grew up an active member of the museum and drawn to your commitment to sparking joy, wonder, and curiosity in children and families. This is lovely. I would love to contribute to the projects that make learning interactive and engaging. This is also very good. Thank you for your consideration, or thank you for considering my application. Yeah, these two bits down here are fine. Fine things to close with. Let's work on these two bits up here. And again, I'm not going to say that these are not bad, because these are not. They're not bad at all. Like, this is a totally reasonable resume and cover letter. I'm just saying, what if we could go one step further? What would that look like? And that's kind of what I want to banter here. So that's my 2 cents on that. I don't know if you strongly agree with that or not, but I would like to hear what you think about that. Now I'm going to look at the resume. Bachelor of Science, glad that you've got that in there, by the way, the bachelor part. because I've seen some students who just put media arts and science, and as somebody who for the last 20 or 25 years has been asked, what did you major in? And I say media arts, and then people always say, what's that? And so then I say, I work with computers. So the bachelor part is good because, as I mentioned in the announcement, the applicant tracking system is going to try and pull those specific words and phrases from the job description and apply them to your resume and cover letter. That's one thing that I wish I could, if I hadn't seen it, I'm not going to go Google it, but it's probably closed. If there's a job description someplace, see if you can pull it up and share it with me. Because if there is, wherever there's opportunity to pull specific word skills and things from that and put it in here, you should absolutely do that. Initiative. You know, I'm familiar with Starfish. I thought about volunteering there once, actually. Design event flyers using InDesign and Canva to promote events and opportunities. I'm guessing the first week in this class when I had you do the event design thing with the bourbon tasting fit right in with that. Everybody looks at me like I have 3 heads when we do that because, like, how would anybody do that in their life? And that's most of what graphic design is. Design an engaging biweekly company newsletter using Brevo. Average open rate of 59%. I love that you have a statistic. Amazing. Post media on company social media to increase engagement. Manage accounting funds and invoices, schedule meetings using Google Suite. Sure. Designed event flyers via Canva. Student intern, office manager. So this was an internship that almost certainly turned into a professional position, I'm guessing. This is kind of the same thing as what you were already doing. You said this. I don't know. I think if it's me, I think I'd probably just take that out of there. Oh, I don't know. You're applying for this internship at the Children's Museum, so maybe having the internship thing on there is a useful thing. It could also be perceived, that the fact that you appear to already have a job, that an internship at the Children's Museum may be perceived by some of them as a step down. I don't know. I think that if it's me, and I see this from what I can see on this page, that you were an intern that almost certainly turned into some sort of mostly part-time, maybe full-time position, and that's where you are right now, that hiring you could potentially be a step down for you, which means it's going to be very temporary, which is not something that a lot of employers like. And it's also possible that they may look at this and to some extent, they may even feel kind of bad about stealing you away from Starfish. So I don't know. I think I would leave this here for the job with the Children's Museum, but for others, it's not an internship. If you're applying to some other sort of professional position, I might take that off there. Good deeds, people. I don't know what that is. Special events volunteer, manage technology, sound, organize, categorize, inventory, responsible for event setups and photography. Okay, yeah, this is great. Love it. I'm gonna look at this designed one. I'm glad that you have this. I love that you have this. I spend a lot of time telling people that they should have a designed resume. But also when I see designed resumes, I'm also thrilled that you have a plain text one because, yep, this one's totally for the bots, right? And the formatting of it is just fine. I have no qualms there. You're in really good shape. This one, the one that you hand out to people when they say, send me your resume. I'm hoping that you don't normally share it as a PNG file, though. Hopefully that you submit it as a PDF. What jumps out at me? This is a big block of text, really hard to read. It would be great if it was broken up into some paragraphs. Portfolio, your URL wraps in an unfortunate way. If you take the off, and you can probably take off the /work. So if you just had jrushdesigns.myportfolio.com, which should probably work, the browser will figure it out. And you could potentially even put a little QR code down there, cute little QR code to fit right next to it. People could scan it, or they could just, type it in. Technical skills, Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, and XD. I did this sort of thing too. I could show you someplace. I have an old file of my old resume, and boy howdy, was it was like, how can I just make it look like I had nothing, right? I had no real experience at some point. We all do, right? And I just had the big icons in there. They're just kind of floating around, and it looked fun. But boy, it's a clever way of filling up something that says nothing at all. I think that for a lot of designers, this has become cliche. It's become a little overused, and so you might think about what you could do differently down here with this. The experience, same stuff, I'm guessing. I'm not going to read that all over again. Education, sure. This is fun. I don't know if this is supposed to be like a signature. Looks kind of like a signature. Yeah, I like this. It's nice. Okay. Now I'm going to look at the portfolio. which I think you submitted separately. You did. Hi, I'm Jola Rush. Scroll down to see more. Okay. Teeny little logo up there. I know it's hard when you get the templates, it's hard to do anything with it, but man, that is almost indiscernible to me. I do not know. If I hadn't already seen it on the resume, I would have no idea what that said. I would think maybe it's like a basketball or something. These things, I don't know how it behaves on mobile device, but I tend to call these mystery meat navigation items because you have to hover. And if you don't have a mouse, then your finger can't hover on a touchscreen. So be careful with those sorts of things. Walking Dead, a book cover. That's Adidas magazine ad. REM Come Back to Me. I don't know what these three things are. I may look at them later. But this one strikes me as fun because I know what these things are. I was tasked with redesigning an organization's brochure. I chose Butler's Holcomb Observatory. The new design is meant to highlight space rather than the telescope itself. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Same with the text, though. Man, that's the thing I look at, and I'm noticing this amongst your peers. It's like, did the enter key fall off the keyboards? Short little paragraphs are way easier to read and skim. They're also friendlier. And so if I could just reach in here and what would I do? And so here's my thinking behind this. This took me a long time to understand, but the pro designers are going to know this. And so this is a pro tip for you. And this is not to be overly critical, but this is useful. When I see large blocks of text like that, the assumption that I make, and I'm usually right, is that whoever was working with that text in that layout, whether it's a web page or a print piece, usually just didn't care about the text. The text was ancillary. The text was like a designed object, right? Like it's a block, not unlike a drop cap or a picture of a telescope or a logo or whatever. It's just a thing to be manipulated as a puzzle piece in this broader canvas. And that is how I know that somebody probably did not actually read or understand the message. Because you, as a designer, rightly look at this as a thing to make look really attractive. But when you've got centered text, large chunks of it, and you've got long blocks of text that would really benefit from being broken up into paragraphs, it's an indication that it was designed not to be read. And when you actually had to, if you were a person who was just sitting there, as I was last summer or 2 summers ago, waiting to just go up in for a session, I think it was about the eclipse actually. That was the last time I was there. You're just standing around, nothing else to do. And so you pick up the brochure. And so, yeah, you're going to read it because there isn't anything else to do. And as you're reading it and it becomes fatiguing, you're like, whew, and then you set it back. And so what would that do? It's like, yeah, you wouldn't have as much room for some other things, and the font gets to be a persnickety problem as you try to design around it. But that's the job. And so that's, particularly when you've got like long URLs like that in there, got to figure out ways to preserve these things in there. So those would be my critiques of that, which has nothing at all to do with this particular assignment. It's just something that I noticed. And if I was hiring somebody for a design position, which is something that I do a lot, I hired somebody on Upwork the other day to do a design for some comic book stuff. These are the things that I look at in a portfolio. This is nice. It is an entirely fictional story. Well, I would hope. Yeah, let's see here. That's the notable work, I guess. There's the graphics. That's fun. Is there more? No, just that. About? Are you on here? No, you're not on here. You don't have to put a photo, but sometimes it's nice to put a little photo. It's nice to be able to put a face to the thing. Visual communications at Ivy Tech. Okay. Yeah. So here I am. I'm gonna click on this just to look at it, but yeah. So there's that. Yeah, this is nice. You're definitely ahead of your peers in a lot of this. It's obvious to me that you've got some good. You have a good eye for design on some of this stuff. This is promising. It really is. You do pretty good work. It's fun. I like this is abstract. I have no skill for being able to do abstract pieces like this. The only thing that I do is I look at it and I think, well, that edge is jagged there, but then I'm like, well, it's abstract, so I guess it's supposed to be. Sabrina Carpenter. Yeah. This is fun. So that's my advice. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna do what I'm doing for everybody, which is that this is my marker as a 50 to say that this is just a conversation that is halfway done. You are well beyond this. You're going to get a higher score. I just want to continue this conversation a little bit after you have a chance to sort of review this. I do, however, want to see you maybe tackle punching up that cover letter a little bit into some more oomph, right? Something that's a little more you focused as focused on me or a position. If you'd like to continue to work against something, if you want to revise, I know it's already submitted, but if you want to revise that cover letter for the Children's Museum, you can go ahead and continue to do that, just so that way we can. I just want to set you apart a little bit more. Your work does 80-90% of that lift, but the usual process of this is that the resume is kind of the last thing that I look at, and most people look at. It's mostly just, let me look at the cover letter and skim this and imagine that I've got a big stack, right? Imagine that I got a big thick thing of cover letters to go through, and I'm just going to kind of look through them, and I just can't. I can't spend a whole day just lovingly going through every one. And so I'm just going to sit here and I'm just going to look and skim until I see something that really catches my eye. And then I'm going to think, I'm going to look at this person's portfolio. And then I'm going to go look at the link. And when I load up the link, your work's going to do a good chunk of that. But that cover letter really has to punch me in the face in order to get my attention. So 50 here is a placeholder. If you haven't read my announcement thing, please do. There's more examples in there from that earlier this week. And if you have any questions, please do reach out. And I really do hope that you get this internship at the Children's Museum. Let me know if you hear back or if you already have. Okay? Good work.